possible. It's better for your brain when you're on screen because you pay attention a little differently. It's a proven fact. So, if possible.
Okay. Okay, first of all, thank you for the privilege, Julie. Nice to see everybody.
Should I give an introduction?
If you like to, sure.
Yeah, so quick introduction. Many of you know Alan Dalton. Alan Dalton and I met actually at an Inman or an RIS media conference. I saw him on stage, was very impressed. I was speaking that day too, and he saw me and named me as a
Yeah,
nurturing.
we thought we had lunch with John Featherston.
Yeah, nurturing networker. And which always stuck with me that he pegged me that quickly.
As opposed to DISC.
And I
Thank
never
you.
heard that term quite that way, and it's so who I am. And it really helped me immediately respect, beyond just hearing him on screen, that he was a very quick judge of character and in a very tactful and productive way. He was CEO of Realtor.com, turned it from being underwater completely at its worst, and he turned it to being the #1 real estate website in the world at that time. Since he's left, it hasn't. If he was still there, I think it would be far surpassing Zillow. He also ran Creative Brands, had an I think 80 office company, 60 office company in New Jersey, which he really headed up, and without his leadership would never have, as much as Joe was an amazing leader, without Alan's help, there's no possible way their company would have gone there. He was drafted by the Celtics, which shows his grit and dedication and absolutely.
Rick, yeah, come on in. Come on in, buddy.
I wasn't sure if you could make it.
Yeah, I would listen.
So beyond being
No,
real
no,
estate,
I got this. Do you want to sit over there? Yeah, I'll sit.
one of the most creative minds that I've ever, actually probably the most creative mind that I've had the privilege of learning from. And it's really, he gets paid tens of thousands of dollars to speak in front of people. And he just got back as the keynote from Craig Proctor, who is, I think, the #1 real estate agent in the world. And last time I went to Craig Proctor's, you happened to be the keynote at that one a while ago. And when I say standing ovation, I mean roaring standing ovation, where people were rushing to buy or whatever it is they could from him. And he doesn't do personal coaching, or didn't at the time. And people were begging him to. He's just got to shake up the industry and all. And you know how I feel the industry was broken, and that's one of the reasons I got into it, is because I wanted it to shift. He has changed the industry in the positive direction more than any human I've ever seen on the planet.
Julie, you're too kind. And let me just say this. I'm here in the presence of two people that are first in class in their respective lanes. I have never met a real estate agent in America that is more marketing centric, savvy, sophisticated in terms of providing consumer centric solutions across the entire spectrum of the real estate experience. There's no one even closer. When I go everywhere, I always bring the lifestyle story, and people go crazy over it because they just, but I always tell them the reason that you've never done this is because you didn't come at it from the prism of a marketing collaborative proposal versus a listing presentation. A listing presentation mind doesn't end up manifesting a lifestyle story because they're the story. The home's never the story, okay? And the other person that is #1 in his lane, I have never met, and I was saying this to Ryan, and by the way, the information I'm going to share is so incredibly valuable that I have a personal security guard, Ryan, okay, that protects this with me. But I have never met a person, a more humanistic broker leader than Rick Higgins. And I want you to know, Rick, when we have a meeting like this, you're always welcome to come into this building here. But,
I wonder sometimes.
no. But you know what? But by the way, the industry, and I'm not an elitist, but the industry would have been a lot better served if it had attracted more Ivy League graduates, attorneys, builders, who also have the incredible combination of unparalleled humanity and compassion for other people. So let's give Rick a hand for that.
As you know, we all get recruited and we all get sign-on bonus offers and we all get all of that. And it's not even tempting when you look at the approach of the man that we're working with and the culture that he's built. It is unseen, unheard of in this
It's
industry.
unheard of.
And we're all numbers and it's how much can you make from me? And Rick has always been, how can I do more for you? What do you need? How can we help? And that is, those of you who haven't been to other real estate firms just wouldn't understand that. Those of you who have do, but it's.
Julie, one other thing I've got to say, because I want to get to this as soon as possible. One other thing I'll say about Rick is this, just to validate what Julie's saying. When my daughter, when she was alive and she was paralyzed, and I bought a house in Newark and had it all transformed for the wheelchair. Rick was the only person, he knows what he said. He goes, Alan, I'd like to hire Laura. Okay, I'll make my Greenfield Hill office more wheelchair accessible because it'd be great if she could have a job. Of all the people in the country, no other person made a suggestion like that. Okay, that just says it all. But anyway, but let's get down to this. You know, Julie mentioned I spoke last week out in California. And I'm going to begin here as I began there. I'm the only person that I know in the industry that is classified as a demotivational speaker. Okay, and the reason I became a demotivational speaker is I used to do speaking. I was never a public speaker. I always spoke on behalf of my company, Realtor.com, Murphy Realty, so forth, so on. And I used to ask audiences, who's motivated you? And then say Brian Buffini, Tom Ferry, so forth and so on. And it finally occurred to me, no one ever mentioned me. Not once did anyone say, Alan, you. So I made the decision, you know what, I can't cut it as a motivational speaker, maybe because I'm from Boston. We haven't had a motivational speaker since Jack Kennedy. We're just not that enthusiastic, evangelical Julians. Well, and so I called my daughter, Ginny, although now we have one, Anthony Lamarcchia, but now I called my daughter, Ginny, she went to Princeton, she became a clinical psychologist, and I said, Ginny, Daddy would like to become real estate's only demotivational speaker. And can you do some research? So she came back, so she put together all the things that you have to do to demotivate people. And so I did that. I created the don'ts and do's of real estate, little things like never use the word comps, because that's like saying, let's take a look at some comparable children. Instead, let's take a look at properties buyers will be evaluating at the same. So I did 150 things that I purged, because I also found out, and this sounds a little perverse, but the only real gift I had from God was the gift to criticize other people. And so I wanted to put that into effect. So I put that into effect. But then this last year, for the first time, I decided I've got to try to be motivational. And the reason I've got to try to be motivational is because I wrote a few books the last year or so, one on buyer agency and the other on AI. First of all, I bring a few gifts here today. I provide content for my clients. And one thing I'm going to give to Julie and Rick here, if I have it here, everybody has a first-time buyers program, right? But it occurred to me several months ago, no one has a first-time sellers program. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So I did this with three of my clients. This is mine, the first-time sellers guide. So this is something. Excuse me?
It seems so obvious, but.
Everything
it's
I've done
not.
is obvious.
Yeah.
Everything I've done is obvious. Everything I've ever come out. Why didn't we think of that? So obvious.
But he packaged it like
Yeah.
it's amazing.
But I have three versions of this. I'm gonna email it to my three clients. Anthony's one of my clients. Okay.
You guys most of you know Anthony.
Because
right?
guess what? There are as many first-time sellers as first-time buyers, and they're completely overlooked. Okay, so that's one gift.
Thank you.
The other gift I'm going to bring, it's all wrinkled up. I've also done for my clients, is I did this with my research on the buyer agent. I created and you can personalize this, the guaranteed buyer representation plan. So you can't guarantee a result to a buyer, but you can guarantee how you're gonna represent them. Are more buyers going directly to the listing agent these days?
Mhm.
Are more buyers coming to open houses, unrepresented, unescorted? That's a great opportunity to have something. And so the 7 A's is this: how we give you access, arrange, apprise, answers, negotiate, administer, and after the sale value, okay? So this is something, you like this idea?
Yes.
So that could be something, because they have as a takeaway with your picture on it. So these are 2 gifts, okay?
Thank you.
These are 2 gifts. Now, I'd like to ask everybody,
Get on it, Nora.
now, I'd like to ask everybody, and by the way, because I've gotten from Julie, I get from Julie downsizing with distinction. I'll get things from Julie, so we've shared with each other, okay?
Thank you.
Now, so now I want you to, I have an outline here for you that Ryan helped me put together. Thank you, Ryan. And I want to talk about something I introduced out in California. The three-dimensional team and consulting, okay? Three-dimensional team. But you know what? We're gonna save this for last. Go to your outline and go to the first page. We're gonna do a math exercise together. I believe that what we go over today is the most valuable meeting you've had since you've been in real estate. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't want to be here. It wouldn't be worth your time and my time. And I have a good sense of what people teach in the industry and how things function. So everybody take out a pen, open up the page. And those of you that are administrative, you're not out there doing transactions. Also, I want you to go through the exercise and just theorize this, okay? So first of all, the first question is this: what percentage of the time when you conduct a listing presentation do you get the listing? Rick, what would yours be? What percentage of the time? People know that.
Yeah, high, but I said 90%.
How about you, Julie?
I said 98%.
98%? Okay.
I said 90.
90%? Jeff, you're kind of new, but
I'm about 65,
65,
70%.
write it down. Everybody write down the percentage. And those of you joining us by Zoom, take out a piece of paper and pen, please. Because what I'm introducing today is the new math of real estate. So write down the percentage, okay? Now, for those of you who wrote anywhere from 60, 70 to 80%, how about you, Colleen?
I said about 87.
Okay, by the way, Zillow says the national average is 84%, and also the National Association of Realtors say that homeowners 75% of the time only bring in one agent. What does that tell us? That tells us your listing presentation is not as important as we think. Your problem, if you're gonna double your income, you don't have to make your listing presentation twice as good. The industry has spent more time on how to make a listing presentation than any other exercise in the history of the commercial world. Okay, it's a lot of it is a solution in search of a problem that doesn't exist. Have homeowners actually listed with people who have never sold a home? Yes. Have homeowners ever listed with part-time agents? Yes. So in other words, you could go to Vegas and you wouldn't get these odds. So yes, it's important how you make the presentation, but we're focused more on the listing presentation than how to get appointments. If you're gonna double your income, what do you think is more important? Getting a lot more appointments or improving your listing presentation? Getting a lot more appointments. But the industry has not focused on that properly. The next question, write this down. What percentage of your listings come from personal referrals versus your sphere of influence? No, in your sphere of influence. What percent, like you come from either, put them together, either personal referrals and sphere of influence, put them as one category. What percentage of your listings come from personal referrals and sphere of influence combined?
Depends how long you've been in the business.
I know it does, but so put down whatever yours is. What did you put?
60.
60. Julie?
I put 45.
45? Okay, anybody else? What did you put? What number?
But if someone's calling the office, someone calls my phone number but doesn't really know me, but just knows.
That's
I'm
not your sphere of
friend,
influence.
that's not my
No,
sphere of
exactly.
influence.
And by the way, I go into some companies and I hear 80, 90%, but you know what? Those usually are the people who are the most successful. At Craig Proctor, they were saying 40 and 50% because they do so much marketing.
Yeah.
But put down that,
But what
okay?
about like open houses? Is that them
No.
become your sphere?
That's not,
Oh,
that's not.
Well, then that's like
Here's
40.
like you had a client and they
Yeah,
referred
they
you.
referred back,
Or
or
it's a
friend.
friend.
Now, let me say this. Now, let me say this, okay? Would you agree, though, that your sphere of influence and your personal referrals is your single greatest source?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what can we learn from this, everybody?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
To Lorelai's point, because once people become an open house attendee, they become a sphere of influence. So it might be 6 months till we buy. So I consider them
Then put them in there,
You know what I
whatever,
mean?
whatever.
like not the ones that buy
Right,
the house,
yeah.
but people that you've created relationships with from whatever
Yeah.
ways you meet them.
Okay, now,
including open
so
houses.
what do we learn from this? Okay. If you were to go right now to AI or Google and ask these platforms, what are the number one, actually go to the next page, lead generation. Write down what you think are the 2 to 3 best lead generation systems, even if you know one. Julie, let's do this quickly, we've got so much to cover. Who would be the number 1 and 2 or 3? Zillow or what?
I mean, I like open houses.
Just
so-
write
Open
it, okay.
houses.
Write them down,
Yeah.
write them down, write them down. Open houses,
Open houses, realtor.com is good for us. We do a lot with them and.
okay.
When,
Write them down. You're gonna keep this paperwork anyway. Well, I gotta speed. We have so much to cover here.
okay,
The point is this. I may not be right, but I'm convinced that no one here or Google or AI would never say the number 1 lead gen system is you. Why is that? You know why no one's ever said that in the history of the real estate industry?
Can't monetize it.
That's exactly, because they can't monetize you. And see, and they don't want you to have that self-discovery.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one.
It's a really, really, really good point.
I'm gonna
I've
do-
never heard you
these
say
points should-
before.
No, this is new because I've spent months on this now. Now, here's the next point. How many times a week does someone ask you about real estate? Write that down. Think about it. Give us some thought. How many times a week does somebody ask you, come on in? How many times a week does somebody ask you about real estate?
25.
Write down the number.
4 to 6.
Okay, write that down.
25 to 50.
Okay,
Jesus.
we gotta keep the focus here. Let's go. Write down, those on the Zoom meeting, write down how many times a week somebody approaches you about real estate. Write that down. Let's not have the chatter. Write down, how many times a week does somebody ask you about real estate? Now do this. Multiply that number times 50. We'll give you 50 weeks of work, 2 weeks of vacation. How many times a year does somebody come up and ask you about real estate? Multiply that number times 50.
750.
750, okay. Who else? Give me some numbers here. You've got to be doing this math here if you're gonna be involved.
I said 28, so that's 28 times 50 is,
28 a week?
yeah, twice a day,
Okay, times 50.
4 times a day. Yeah,
Okay,
10
4 times a day. Okay, that's good.
Think about it. Oh, how's the market? It happens here at the grocery.
So you're having over 1,000 people a week ask you how's the market?
Yeah.
Okay, right, everybody write that down now. We gotta move on here. Write that down. The next one, the next page is this. How many appointments in the home did you secure from last year from these individuals?
like none.
Somebody said none. How about you? Lola, how many? Just estimate. 2. Anybody else? See, this is deeper than you thought when I was talking about the amount. Oh, we did this, we did that. This is a paradigm shift. This is gonna be a game, life changer for people. No, it's 500 bucks. Okay, now let's talk about this. Ready? The Lamarckia Dalton new math activity model. Now, if you met with 2 homeowners or couples per year in their home, how many would result in, that's about right. How many would that result in terms of, first of all, if you met with 100 people, only 10 are gonna sell. That's 10%. People are in the home now over 12 years. Of the 10 people who are gonna sell their home, how many listings do you think you'll get from those 10? Julie?
I like to think all of them, but.
So
I'll say-
put 10,
I'll-
put
I'll
9.
say- I'll say 9.
Okay, put 9, okay.
If we-
Now, those people who are gonna sell, 50 or 60% are gonna buy within a 20-mile radius. If 5 people buy in the area, how many of those buy sides do you think you're gonna get, Julie?
9.
No, there's only 5
Oh,
some are
buy
gonna
side
move out of
trade.
area, but
Oh,
you're gonna get
okay.
referral fees in the
I'd
other.
say 90%.
Okay, so let's say 4.
4.
Write down 4. Now, these people, now let me give you a few concepts. You've all heard of the concept of a sphere of influence. But here's the concept you haven't heard people talk about, spheres of influence. So you could have 200 people in your sphere, but each of them have 200 people. That's 40,000 people. Now, you're not gonna get 40,000 listings, but you may know somebody in a bowling league, but they know 200 people in that bowling league that you don't. Those 100 people together have exponentially more insight and knowledge and reconnaissance intelligence when people are getting divorced, they're moving, than you do. So these 100 people, and now you're gonna basically assimilate into their spheres of influence. How many referrals do you think you get from sitting down with 100 people in their home? How many referrals do you think you get? Anybody? These are estimates.
5.
You only get 5 from 100 people buying or selling?
I think one of the things that we could work on is the right way to ask for.
Well, that's what I'm gonna get. That's why I'm rushing this.
Hundreds.
Well, let's just put 5. Put 5. Only 5, okay? But then you're gonna get people from their spheres. So it's gonna multiply. So let's you want to stick with 5. Let's be very conservative.
And can I point out one thing
Good.
and I'll be quick? So keep in mind, you get a referral from someone like Zillow. That sphere of influence, to your point, is now becoming, so even though you're paying referral fees, and
Yeah,
that's
but
why.
forget the Zillow. Let's talk about the in-home
But I mean, or
consultation, right?
anything.
As the example.
And the only reason I'm pointing that out is
Right.
because that one lead, that's why we don't mind taking referrals, because that we know that one lead leads to
Right.
all of these.
And you pay even 500 for that. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, now let's go. Now let's talk about this. Julie's the best in the country at creating an ecosystem. What's the difference between an ecosystem and a network? There's a word in biology, symbiosis, okay? Ecosystems are symbiotic. Networks aren't necessarily symbiotic. So now if you're going into the home, what you're gonna cover is this: home improvement, home savings, home maintenance, appealing property taxes, home equity reviews, and real estate planning. You can't sustain the relationship unless you're bringing in vendors. My wife and I, for over the 8 years, every single thing we've done with our home, which is extensive, is because of Julie's ecosystem. You've seen that, Lorelei, in real time. So how many referrals do you think, Julie, you would be a better judge than anybody? How many referrals am I gonna get from the ecosystem partners I bring in to help my clients do home improvement, home maintenance, home savings? How many?
I'd say at least 10 a year minimum.
So let's put 10, minimum 10.
If you're using.
Now, I want everybody to add up these 4 numbers, even people who aren't in the business. It's good that you understand this, so you support this. Okay, the four categories, add those up. What is your add up to, Julie?
And I think I was low, but 28.
28, okay. Lorelei, what did you have?
24.
Okay, anybody else?
27.
27, okay, now do this. What's your average compensation per transaction size? Just average estimate. Approximately what?
2.25.
No, the compensation money.
Like your
Not
average,
split.
average dollar.
Yeah, average, yeah, I'm gonna
That's a
make,
huge range.
I know, but just average,
10,000,
average.
10,000.
How much?
10.
That's a mistake.
I'd say 15.
So the average home's almost $1 million here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2% of that's 20,000.
But we got half.
Well, no, 2% of $1 million is 20,000. You get more than half. You get your split.
So,
If it's a 5%, you get
Oh,
half.
2%, yeah.
So I think.
so 15, we'll say
It's-
15,000.
Well, after, yeah.
Let's do 15,000. Let's do 15,000 here, okay?
Yeah.
Because let's keep it on the big picture here. Now, 15,000, I want everybody to take the number of transactions you're gonna generate by in-home consultations and multiply it times 15,000. What did you get, Julie?
I'm still looking through my calculator.
Are the total transactions?
Yeah,
Wow, 360,000.
420,000.
420,000, 360,000. Okay, now,
Even if you just had 5,
so that's on the, so do that new math thinking. Add up the total transactions, turn to that page, multiply by the average earning, and that's your additional income. Based on your math, not my math, your math. Your math, not mine, yours, okay? Now now the next thing I want you to do is this. Private income entry. I don't want to ask anybody this. This isn't an Amway meeting here, okay? Write down your income for either 2024 or what you think your income is going to be this year. Write that down and keep it to yourself. You on the Zoom, everybody following this, write down what your income is. What's so funny?
Lorelai, you want me to write it down for you?
Yeah.
I got it.
Everybody on the Zoom, write down, this is serious
I
stuff.
know what everybody's making.
Everybody write down, keep it to
I got it
yourself.
memorized.
Write down what your income was, keep it to yourself, okay? For either this year or last year, and then turn the page. And then compare numbers. Compare numbers, everybody. Compare the new math versus your conventional math. And by the way, and it's not gonna be either or. You're gonna add the new math, and here's how you're gonna add the new math. Here's how this works, okay? Here's how this works. I own the URL Real Estate Trusted Advisor. I also own the URL, which I'm here to talk about today, Certified Real Estate Consultant. I've seen the agents in the industry saying they're a trusted advisor. You've seen that. You've heard people say that, correct? Now, I've never seen anybody say, I'm a trusted CPA. Hi, I'm a trusted attorney. Rick, that would be a joke, wouldn't it? We're trusted attorneys, but the industry's so stupid. It's like the Confederation of Dunces. That's what it does, because it doesn't know any better. It doesn't know the public, and everyone follows what everybody does without even thinking about it, right? In the same way people would just say, Alan, I'm a D. I've taken 5 tests. I'm always a C. Don't you feel how analytical I am about all this? Anyway, oh, but you're so loud. Now, the thing is this. Okay. Now, so add up. Now, ask yourself, did you make more from the new math than the old math? Okay.
I undersold myself.
Okay. And the other thing is this. So did you make it more from the, and you undersold, and we're being very conservative, weren't we, on those numbers, correct?
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
so how many of you would like to add the new math to your old math? And by the way, why don't we spend the next 5 months in this room together and see if any possible way on earth we could ever come up with any other way to exponentially increase your income more than this. Now, what is this? Turn the page. The value of in-home consultation. See this here? This is what I've created for my clients. In-home consultations. And then there's a whole training. So Anthony Lamacchia and I are coming out with the Certified Real Estate Consulting course, network, book, and it's all based upon getting into people's homes. And it's also based on some of my teachings. I said 10 years ago, stop using the word past client. People are repeating it now because that makes you a past agent. Don't focus on a database, focus on a client base. I could have the largest database in Connecticut in 2 months. I could buy the voter registration rolls for the Republican and Democratic Party and walk around town as far as a peacock. In 5 years, I might be a feather duster, okay? So also, every coach has told every agent this for the last 20 years. You gotta treat your business like a business. Oh, let me write that down. I thought this was volunteer work. Who's my daddy? Where do I send my check? Okay? Treat your business like a professional practice because businesses have customers and practice have clients. That's why don't stop sending out market reviews, send out client review, client updates. See, the industry has defined the word client transactionally. During a transaction, they're your clients. After the transaction, they're my past clients. And then I'm taught this. Oh, and before the transaction, they're my onesies, my twosies, my threesies, my foursies, my hots, my colds, because that's the way the industry is run. It hasn't been strategic. because people never understood what a sphere of influence is. A sphere of influence is a cylinder shape. A sphere is a cylinder shape where every object around the perimeter is equidistant to the center. That only happens if everybody's your client. There's something called the real estate loyalty gap. NE has done research. 90% of people say they're going to go back to their agents, and only 10% of people do. That was before AI. It's going to be night and day worse because of that. People don't start doing this. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just gonna have you say that again, because that is hugely important. Because we have these wonderful relationships with our clients, and then we're upset if they didn't call us back. And you're not alone. 90% of people who think they're gonna use you don't use you, not because they didn't like you, but because distraction and what's in front of them, or they forget.
Because you're not bringing enough value to sustain the relationship.
Right.
People have one doctor, one dentist, one attorney. They've got 5 realtors. They're playing real estate roulette because the business model has never been the new math business model. The business model capitulated to a transaction to transaction driven industry, okay, as opposed to a relational. It's been more transactional and relational, okay? And so we're going to talk more about, but what's going to happen with AI is this, okay? And I wrote a book on AI. Number one, I asked AI, how are real estate agents using AI versus their people they fantasize that they're contemporaries? Okay, lawyers and financial advisors, because the reason we have people in real estate saying they're a trusted advisor, it wasn't because people are saying, I'm a trusted carpenter, I'm a trusted plumber, I'm a trusted landscaper. No, it was financial advisors, right? And so ChatGPT said this, in Perplexity, realtors are using it completely differently. 99% of the way realtors are using AI is how it can help them, how it can help them write ads, how it can help them write blogs. None of the prompts are how they can help people. Whereas the psychologists and the advisors, 90%, they all use my client this, my client that, how I help a client with this. That's not how this industry is using it, okay? And then the next thing I asked is this. The next thing I asked is this. Okay, I went in and I asked, I own the URL, Real Estate Trusted Advisor. I own the term certified real estate consultant. And I want to introduce to the industry, along with Anthony, I want to introduce to the industry a more relational, see, because people are selling products to the realtors every night, but they don't understand the realtor's the product. That product has to be repackaged. In the same way, life insurance agents had to evolve to become financial planners, okay? So I said, of these names, what do you like? They said, well, you never want trusted because that creates mistrust. And then I also thought, wait a minute, now people have tried to do more than the average agent. And there's been programs. Anyone here a Ninja? A program called Ninja? There's a training, but you can't go on, but they're known for assassins. Assassinate, you can't go to the public. Have you ever heard of, I'm a ninja? Never mind the fact that that's so inappropriate to the, AAPI. Now, you don't even know what the AAPI is, do you? It's the Asian American Pacific Islander. That's the correct term here, okay? You're not here in Berkeley, you're here in Fairfield. But anyway, but the point is this, so you wouldn't know that. But the thing is, Rick loves this. Okay. Rick gets you out on the phone. Anyway, now, so the point is this. So you can't say, now, how about this? How about going to a homeowner? I'd like to get together. I'm a Ferryite. I'm a Buffiniite. Now, here's what's happening in the industry. Keller Williams just came out with the certified real estate plan. Yeah, they caught after me after 40 years when I did it 40 years ago, okay? And Private Fania just come out with the certified full service professional. Sounds like somebody at the gas station, okay? And the point is this, but you're not gonna say to somebody, I'd like to get together, for example, Alan, how's the market? Thanks for asking. We're in a very opportunistic market. There's great opportunities for buyers, sellers, and investors. Now I'd like to ask you a question. Hey, when do you think you might be making your next real estate? Maybe in a couple of years. Well, you know what? It's probably too soon to start talking about the marketing of your home, but we should get together in a couple of weeks and start planning the merchandising. Now, the industry doesn't even use the word merchandising. We only use the word staging, because staging is a transactional word. Merchandising is a relational word, new kitchen, new this, new floors, so forth and so on. But then at the end, I'm gonna go like this. Oh, and by the way, Rick, I've been meaning to call you because I'd love for you to become one of my real estate clients. In the history of this industry, no one else has ever taught that. Because it goes against the way we view the world. Because we view a client only parenthetically during a transaction. If they're not having a transaction with us, they're not our client. If they had a transaction, they're our past client. Okay? And so that's what has to change. So I asked ChatGPT, what will happen?
Can I make one
Go
point
ahead.
in that?
Yeah.
Because even if we feel that way, because we, I think more than anybody, do that create longer,
You do.
but in their brains, we would never say, I want you to become a client, like we instilling in their brains.
Because
that
we don't have-
that their client, that they feel that way,
No.
not just us.
Because we define client transactionally. We don't
And so
define
do
it.
they.
I know, exactly,
Until we
because they
can-
got it from
until
us.
we teach them how not.
Absolutely, absolutely, because you've all been trained more on how to list properties versus how to list people. So you first need to list people, but you have to have a formal process, okay? Now, but I asked ChatGPT, what will happen? Now, I'm 76. I'm not gonna be doing this for 5 years. I may not be alive in 5 years. I'm not, this isn't about me, but a lot of you are younger. You're all younger, even Rick's younger, okay? No, you're a few months, you are. But here's the point. I'm February, you're April, is it, or March, right? Well, here's the point, okay? I asked AI, if real estate agents don't do in-home consultations, given the future of AI, what will be the consequences? In 7 seconds, they will not survive. They will not survive, and here's why. Do you agree with me that more buyers than ever are going to the listing agent and directly? Now, here's how the checkers player thinks about this. Oh, that just makes listings even more valuable. That's how the checkers player thinks. Here's how a chess player must think. Once the seller sees that the buyer didn't need representation, how long do you think it will take to occur to them? Why do I need it? Why do I have to pay for representation if the buyer isn't? Okay. Now, and here's something else to think about. I used to go to conferences all the time, especially when I was CEO of Realtor.com, and I used to hear so-called thought leaders that I thought were thought followers up on panels saying this, okay? Our buddy Raymond of the world, the followers and the mimickers, okay? Saying things like this.
Should take your words and
Yeah.
call them his own.
Oh, we've got to keep realtors at the center of the transaction. That is so myopic because that's exactly where disruptors want to keep you at the center of the transaction. So they can take over the client before, then during, and after the transaction. Keep one thing in mind. Let's talk about the transaction. Do you write the mortgage yourself?
No.
So you're not needed for that. Do you write the title? No, you're not needed for that. You conduct the home inspection. You're not needed for that. You conduct the home appraisal. You're not needed for that. You refer people. You don't think AI is gonna, you think AI will have the ability to refer people? Okay. Now, AI also said this, FSBOs will grow from 6 to 20%. Because the only reason why FSBOs could never flourish, they didn't have access to the buyer pool. But now if buyers have been emancipated and they're going there unbundled, okay, that is now going to empower for sale values. There's only one logical solution. I mean, it's 5 minutes. There's only one logical solution. There's only one logical solution. And that's, and AI agrees with me, is to do in-home consultations. So now, the value of in-home consultations, here's what this covers, okay? It covers market update reviews, local, nationally. So if somebody asks, how's the market now? You might want to say, well, thanks for asking. Would you like to talk about the market in general or your market and your home's value? You like that better than, because that's what they're interested in. It's, people have said, oh, it's a buyer's market, but they're a seller. It's a seller's market because they're a buyer. Well, that depends. Are you buying, selling, investing? No one likes to have their question with you're cornering people because they're not in the market right now. The industry has never been coached to train on the phenomenon that people are in the home for 10 years now. And that's your greatest value. Julie's number one in the history of the industry as an agent in this concept. Her air is a validation of that. There's no one else in the industry who's ever done that. No one. I'm in all 50 states. So this is saying to the choir, and it must be even a little bit difficult for Julie hearing somebody come in and express at the macro level something that she's done her whole life, okay? But I'm packaging it because she doesn't have the time to sit and take weeks and months and package it like I am here right now. But the point is this, so that now where are you going to get all the information on the market? AI, right? Now, how many of you are using AI more than ever? Raise your hands. Now, for the first time in history, Rick, consumers are going to the exact same information source as agents. That's unprecedented, Colleen, in the history of every profession. My granddaughter twisted her ankle. I took a picture, I sent it to AI. They diagnosed it exactly like the doctor did. It's this, it's not this, have it do this, have it do that. In my book on research at the Beth Israel Hospital in Boston, they had to diagnose the patient. They first had the doctors do it without AI. Then they had to do it with AI. And they just had AI do it without the doctors. And the AI without the doctors had the best diagnosis. It's in the New England Journal of Medicine. If you think things like, that's why it's $1 trillion arms race in AI right now. What is your strategy? As opposed to, well, it helps me do blogs. I can do this. I can have an avatar of myself at an open house. That's not elevating value. And here's something else. So here's something else why you want to do in-home consultations. I read years ago that when Ryan and I did a video in New Jersey, I was driving down the parkway and I saw a picture of Albert Einstein. And it occurred to me the two most notable geniuses in the history of America, Einstein and Edison, both voluntarily moved to New Jersey. So we did a video, I moved to New Jersey, a genius decision. It's a form of a syllogism. What's a syllogism? Two premises that reinforce by an irrefutable conclusion. Geniuses make genius decisions. Edison and Einstein were geniuses. Therefore, a move to New Jersey is a genius decision. It's when you use irrefutable logic, okay? And so the point is, in terms of using AI, for the first time in history, the public is going to the same sources as doctors, as lawyers, as realtors. Therefore, your role moving forward will not be to advise people. It will not be to give people information. It will be to interpret information. It will be a triangulation. It will be you, just like doctors do. It'll be you and the client in real time using AI. It'll be collaborative and consultative. That's why I wanted consulting versus advisor. Advisor gives opinions. A consultant is more collaborative. And Julie's the epitome of collaboration. She works with, as is Lorelei with us. That's who you are. That's the nature of who you are. But now, if you made $15,000 on a transaction, and you made $150,000, that meant that you were in like 14 homes over the course of the year, and you got 10 listings. Okay. Oh my God, what a busy person. 14 home visits over the whole year. I'm a doctor. I saw 14 patients. Well, that was your point. My people are so busy. Oh, I had 14 patients at night in the homes. Okay. So now,
They have more than 14 patients.
no, but if you get by your own math, if you get 80% of the listings you go after, and let's say yours is 20,000 a thing.
Like from the
If-
people that you personally. are
That's exactly
not-
right.
Not referrals.
No, no, I'm just saying, if somebody here made, okay, no, not yet, I'm gonna show it, I wanna go over it. If somebody made, like, for example, $160,000, okay, that meant that they had like eight listings they got. And they had to go on 10 appointments. So somebody saw 10 homeowners in their home that year. Wow, how do they keep up with that? I'm a doctor. I saw 10 patients in their home. It doesn't scale. Now, here's the thing. Do you know how much more value you have to people in terms of your knowledge, your construction, this and that? It's not being tapped into, okay? Now, so the first thing is the market update. The next thing is home improvement strategies. Now, we have some of this stuff in here. Well, where are you going to get the home improvement strategies? AI. But here's why they need you. Because they'll have ROI, Rick, on home improvements. And on a swimming pool, they'll say the swimming pool gives 50% ROI. And by the way, I'm introducing a new concept for ROI. It's not just return on investment, it's return on your influence. See, this is return on your influence. I'm reshaping ROI, okay? Now, home improvement, but so if somebody has a little ranch home, okay, and whatever, in a little town, they may only get 50%. But if somebody has an estate-like property like me, the home may not sell if it doesn't have a swimming pool, right, Lorelei? It's 10 times more important. You have to explain all of this because our artificial intelligence will never get it right. There's too many complexities. There's too many needs. And then the humanity. The reason why the suicide is up. The reason why we're living, there's a book, Bowling Alone. People are they're digitally isolated. They're being deprived of human contact. I read years ago, speaking of New Jersey, I read years ago that the #1 state for mental health was New Jersey. And the worst state for mental health was Montana. You would think it was the opposite. You would think, wait a minute, I'm in Montana, I'm really stressed out. Geez, maybe I should move to New Jersey. Okay? But here's the point. Now, why do you think at that time it's still Google that there are, trust me, the top 3, both of them. One the best one for the other. Why do you think New Jersey would have the lowest suicide rate and Montana would have the highest? Any ideas? Isolated. Isolated. Because they don't have the density. You know why? Because they're not seeing people. You need to see more people. It's for your mental health. You're gonna get it. I'm dead serious.
That's true.
I'm dead serious. There's books being written about this. There's shows on this in terms of that. So you're gonna do home maintenance review. Then you're gonna go over home savings, appeal property taxes. Only 14% of people appeal their property taxes and 72 think they're being overcharged. But realtors aren't doing any of this because you've listed properties, not people. That's why, and it's in-home consultation. And then future real estate lifestyle planning. So when we're gonna have this network, we're gonna have an online course, podcast, interactive. We're gonna have a network of agents all over the country sharing what they do. We're elevating the craft to where it should be. Okay. Now, real estate planning guide. I wrote this with and for Anthony because this is off my earlier version, my planning guide. What percentage of people regret not owning enough real estate? Almost everybody. What percentage have ever developed a real estate plan for life? 0. What percentage of realtors have ever encouraged people to do planning? 0. Okay. And here's the irony of it. People want to talk about real estate to you more than you want to talk to them. Because we're not natural salespeople in this industry. Now, here's the point. Julie said, some of you said, the woman on the call said 8 people a week came up to her. 8 people a day, rather.
No, four.
Excuse me?
I had said 4, which maybe I meant to say 2. If it was even 2 a day, that would be 40.
Was it 4 a day, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 28 people a week. What's your first name again?
Lori Quattrella. I've met you many times over the years, Alan. How are
Can't
you?
even see it. Thank
Yeah,
you,
we
thank
can't
you.
see you, Laura, so.
Laura, it's okay. But Laura, here's the point. I may not be rapidly convinced. 28 people come up to you to talk about real estate more than you go up to 28 people to talk about real estate. Am I
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
See, here's the challenge that this is why we have a network to support each other. The real estate industry is not accustomed to making appointments. We discussed this a little bit, but I'm going to refine it. You're going to see what it is here. What percentage of the buyer appointments do you have? Did you reach out to the buyer versus the buyer reached out? Did the buyer reach out to you, or did you reach out to a buyer? You just had some psychic thing that somebody was looking to buy.
Probably like.
Let me ask you. Are more buyers, like, for example, do you ever get buyers from Zillow and Realtor.com?
An open house.
Open house, so you didn't reach out to them, they reached out to you.
Mhm.
So what percentage of the buyers do you think reach out to you versus you reach out to them first?
Majority.
Well, how much of the majority?
80,
Yeah, because the majority could be 51, 99%. No, we're making we're treating all of this forensically here. This is
Well, what
math.
about buyers that are in our database that we take time, because I want everybody to do this.
Database, we need to have our client base, but
Client
go
base,
ahead.
our
Go ahead.
client base, that we take time,
Then change the number then. All I'm
but
saying
that's
is,
reaching out. to
I'm talking about the
clients, right?
first point of contact,
Yeah,
when the relationship is formed.
it's 90 at least.
That's exactly right. Now, it's the same thing with sellers. And I'll tell you why. You didn't just serendipitously call them the night they decided to put their, now they know of you, they've received calendars and pumpkins, open houses, client appreciation. But at the end of the day, when they decide they're gonna sell, just like we did, we called you.
Mhm.
So between buyers and sellers, would you agree with me, 95% of the time, you are basically responding to requests to appointments than creating appointments. Am I making sense? That's the great challenge that we have to have this network. Because it's not in our DNA to call and set up appointments. It's not in our DNA, okay? And so we have all the scripts, the text, the emails, the videos to be able to, because it's gonna be the most comfortable appointment you ever had. Because they're not gonna ask you about 1031 exchanges and quantitative easing on Wall Street. They're just gonna go over these basics: home improvement, home savings, home discounts, real estate planning. You're gonna have this digitally, and you're gonna have, all of our members are gonna have this, they're gonna personalize this. Oh, it's how much money though? Okay, now the next thing is this. Okay, I want you to go back. I want you to go now to, we're gonna speed this up. I want you to go to the end. Do you believe it would be more realistic? Look at this, find that page. Do you believe it would be more realistic in the next 12 months, okay, to secure 100 appointments in the home from either FSBOs, expired referrals, or from complimentary in-home consultations? What do you think? And by the way, before you answer that, how many did you have last year? How many people in the home did you meet last year? Okay,
As an in-home consultation.
yeah,
Or is
that's.
or at an open house, or you mean
No,
just meeting?
I'm saying, because first of all, basically, none of you went into a home if you thought the people aren't gonna be in the market for the next 10 years, and you had a program to follow with them, to go over appealing their property taxes, home equity review, home savings, all in a program, all you prepared, all the information with a file folder. Because now what I'm saying to you is this: there only has been 2 channels of income, 2 verticals, buyers and sellers. We've never treated homeowners as a monetizable vertical. Even if there was a law that you couldn't list the home of anybody you consulted with, it's still worth your while, because you're deputizing them, because you're getting into all of their spheres of influence. You're the Pope of Greenwich Village, okay? And
Can I ask you a question on how to monetize or how to capitalize on the fact that the importance of personal referral versus just ChatGPT, and the lack of trust that we all put into Google reviews, or like, as much as I know we're gonna get information from this, I don't know if I would ever choose even a product just through ChatGPT, because in my brain, it's almost got an agenda of, it's not as trusted on who to go to.
that's now, it's in its infancy.
So, but don't you think, so my language that I want to get from you,
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
a master
Yeah.
man with language, is how to put the doubt in their mind that although ChatGPT can guide them, that they really need the personal referrals.
You're
from
only
30 years of-
gonna be doing that if you're doing in-home consultations.
Yes, but once you
But yeah, once
understand-
you're there, you're gonna do it in real time. Say, by the way, you know what it says here? It says this is a return on equipment, but that would be, it says people want this, but actually what we're finding is this. Okay, well, actually what we're finding is this, but it's personal because Zillow can't get in the home, ChatGPT can't get in the home because you've got to humanize the real estate experience before there's a transactional need, because once there's a transactional need, well, wake up, we're already seeing what buyers are doing. Buyers are bypassing buyer agency.
And the language that I want, and,
Yeah.
and not to put you on the spot here,
Yeah.
for you to think about,
Yeah, I
and we
will.
can talk about.
Yeah.
Is once we're in and we're doing this, is to, like, we used to talk about Angie's List compared to AIR.
Right.
And you need that personalized referral of people who have experience.
Here's how
and
you
knowledge
explain it. Here's
from
how you explain it.
Actual.
Julie,
humans that are-
here's the difference. The difference between how I serve my clients on their home savings, home improvement, home maintenance needs, okay, is because I have substantial influence in our team, in the Higgins Group. We have substantial influence. Not only have we recognized in the real world about who is the finest tradespeople, we also hold them accountable, not because we're forceful with them, because it's implicit that given our critical mass within the communities, that if they don't satisfy our clients, okay, their greatest source. And now that we're doing all of this in all of the homes, and by the way, once you take your database and you upgrade your database to your client base by seeing everybody, they're never going to look to replicate that relationship with anybody else. They're never going to look to replicate that same level of intimacy. See, we got to go deeper into these relationships when they're there for 10 years. Because sending pumpkins, just having a client appreciation, it's not going to sustain it. They've got to feel indebted to you. You've got to be indispensable. They're not, when they go to meet with their friends in their bowling league or whatever, they're not going to say, oh, by the way, did you see the little video with Bob that they get 20 clicks? No, it's not going to sustain. If so-and-so helped us with their peeling our property. By the way, we're going to move, but now we're putting a new kitchen. They've got to become so close to you that they feel that they're deputized. Everywhere they go, they want to bring you up. And they're never going to let anybody else in the door. Because people have one doctor, but they've got 5 real estate friends. That's why there's research on this. 90% say they're going to go back because the problem, the industry, there's great value we have great transactional value. Oh, because if somebody leans forward, you lean forward. How does this sound to you? We've had all the micro interpersonal stuff. It's the macro value. It's the lifetime value. That's the missing link. That's the void. But I want to go to it because I want to now go to the 3-dimensional real estate team. Okay. So the first team. So here's what I did. I introduced this out in California. First of all research reveals this, that people on teams do significantly better in terms of productivity than people who are virtuosos. All research says that. So all of you are wise to be on the #1 team here in Connecticut. So that was a very wise, no matter how much you like or love Julie, even if you hated her, this is a very profound business decision, because people who collaborate. In fact, I used the example here years ago, some of the first teams were caravans, because solo cameliers, they call them, couldn't survive in sandstorms unless they aggregated with teams to share information, protection, logistics. Okay, so so you've set up one team. The first dimension is the internal team. I put the acronym. Together, everyone achieves more. Through agent collaboration, shared knowledge, expertise, skilled resources, case studies. But the internal team, the one-dimensional team, it's overwhelmingly more focused on transactions. You're more likely to have, if the team has a board, you're more likely to have on the board your listings, your buyers, than your homeowner consultations. Would you agree with that? Julie, would you agree with that? Okay. So now what you have to have is a deeper sense of purpose. That you've got to be more of a relational team, and you've got to see now you've got 3 verticals that you're working with. And now you have the new math as well. The next, so then the dyad team. What's a dyad? A dyad, as you see, is something that consists of two elements. That's what they talk in psychology all the time, dyads. I spoke to Jen, she said, that's all I talk about, dyads. Dyad is the therapist, the therapist and the client. That's a dyad. The industry's never formed dyads, ever. How do we know that? And we've got to be on, well, I do this, I do that, and we're different. I'm talking here industry here. The industry has never formed dyad teams for this reason. Because if that was the case, Jeff, there wouldn't be the loyalty gap. There wouldn't be research that says 90% say they're going to go back to their agent and only 10% do. So a dyad is an ongoing relationship. Now, therefore, the internal team, the first dimension of a three-dimensional team, they have to operate and share information on how everybody is now going to create dyad teams. That has to be a major focus of the internal team, is how we support everybody's dyad teams, because you go from a member of an internal team to the leader of dozens of dyad teams. Okay. Now, the dyad team is trust, engage, align, and move forward together. That's what that acronym stands for. Now the dyad team cannot survive. These are all interchangeable. The dyad team cannot survive if the internal team doesn't support, doesn't have a deeper sense of purpose, and doesn't help everybody prepare using AI, not using AI, using air, using this, and by the way, you can also go into home visits. Like I wrote some things, I'll give them to you too. Moving with pets, moving with children. I have these. You've got move, improve, or relocate. You have all of this content. It's not enough just to bring it to open houses. You got to bring it into the homes. So now the internal team is designed where everybody is now empowered. No one else in Connecticut is going to do this. Everybody's empowered now for the dyad teams to bring in. And then when you have meetings, you're talking about these. How did that go? How did you ask for referrals? How did they respond to this? And then also, does everyone bring, like we have your home sellers, vendors, does that partners list? Does everyone have that?
Everybody has it, but we don't use it properly.
But now you will, because, okay, now you will. So now what you, okay, go ahead.
Okay,
So
sorry.
now what you do,
Good luck
so
at the showing.
good. So now what you do is now you have, now if you don't have an ecosystem team, see, there's three-dimensional teams. One you're a part of and two you lead. But the one you're a part of has to prepare you to lead the other two. But you're not going to be motivated to do that unless you embrace the new math. Because it's not in the comfort zone of the industry to get appointments, to go into people's homes. So the more that you have these appointments and you see you have raving fans, you're getting referrals, you lock down, and then Rick's greatest asset is his people, your greatest asset is your people. Then you're the first to market of a new concept. You take the course, you get certified, you have Anthony, myself, we certainly can have value. You get materials, you get this, you personalize it to your company, and then you're off to the races. So the next thing is the ecosystem team. Okay, so basically,
And that's why you've recently gotten, Chris has sent out, the importance of the partnerships that we use are being proven right here, right now by the guru in the industry. When I say, who are you using for mortgage? We're going through our partner directory and we're really choosing the best of the best. And that's why we're asking. And remember, when your person is getting sent business from our company, who are they going to think of when they want to do real estate? They're going to think of you, who referred them in the first place. So it's not just you using my people. I'm inviting you all so that each one of us can have our own network that the rest of us use so that they think of you.
Okay.
So we are all helping each other.
now, well, here's another question. Now I'm gonna close my eyes because I don't want anybody to be influenced by trying to impress me. I'm gonna ask Ryan to close his eyes too. But I'm gonna ask all of you to seriously think about this, and those on the Zoom. Was this the most valuable information and perspective you've been exposed to since you've been in real estate? If you have, I'm going to close my eyes. If it has been, raise your hand. If not, don't raise your hand. Okay. But I want Julie to see that, because I'll tell you right now, because if it isn't, Anthony, I think Anthony's pretty sharp on real estate. I think I'm pretty sharp. This is our future, Because, and we're not going out to bring something, no, put balloons and open house signs or work your plan and plan your work. This here is a paradigm shift. This is like agents who used to sell life insurance, then there wasn't that value, they had to become financial planners. This is going out there as a certified real estate consultant, going out there saying that you have a whole different marketplace. And here's the point, if I said to any of you, I'll give you a $300,000 salary, Colleen, if you'll meet with 2 people a week in their home. Maybe you take that, correct? You've got to give yourself that job because you have to trust in the numbers. You've got to trust in the math. So I'm going to put my hands over my eyes and I'm going to ask you if you think this is as valuable or more valuable than anything you've heard since you've been in real estate. Good. Okay, 1, 2, I'm gonna open my eyes. 1, 2,
You've got
3,
your
4, 5.
fingers
Okay,
open.
okay, thank you.
Lot of hands up.
Now, let me say what the plan is this. We want this to scale. I was just out at the Craig Proctor thing. Tens of thousands of agents spend $1,000 a month for coaching. You know that, Julie. Now, here's the thing. In every single company, there's a correlation between people who invest in their career and who makes the most amount of money. Would you agree with that?
Mhm.
Because a lot of agents, they don't have a career, they have a job. Okay, they're not entrepreneurial. But we want to have this so incredibly cheap that it's not a factor. So we're going to probably charge about $1,000 for the year, only 1 year. Then you have but about 5. But I'm going to give a discount to 50% discount if anybody here does it. It's not even up for 2 or 3 months. So I'm not selling anything today. But the thing is this. But I want you to think about it and think about what you'll lose. Because here's what you'll get. You'll get the online course. You'll be certified. The courses are going to be unbelievable because we're also going to get into transactional consulting. Anthony knows a lot about my stuff, his stuff. You're going to get digital materials. You're going to get the in-home consultation. You're going to get press releases. You're going to get scripts of videos, messaging, direct mail. Okay, the real estate planning guide. Okay, how many of you think you could do this for yourself for $500? You're getting all of this. This is game-changing content. Okay, so keep that on the horizon. Talk about it as a team. And Rick, you should think about it as your company. This is going to if you want to lock down these markets, and then if you ever did this as a group and you promoted this in the marketplace like that, even a billboard, okay, before you go up Old Mill there, that little billboard, okay, where they have Fairfield University, you put something like this, okay, boom, boom, boom. A salesperson can only, a consultant, he can help you buy, sell, and plan for the rest of your life. This is the direction. People have no idea where they are, how AI is going to hit them. You've spent your life building this asset. You've got to protect it. And the only way you can protect it is to both protect and grow the relationships with the public. And if anybody else can think of anything that compares to this, tell me now before we come out with this, because I'll change over to it. Okay, so anyway, so. Yes, no, it's going to be a designation. Yes, it's going to be a CRE, it's going to be a designation. And I mean, people years ago, they spent $1,000, said they were e-pro, they now send out emails. This is changing somebody's career. And by the way, now, should this be 25,000? Yeah, but you know why it's not going to be priced at 25,000? Because none of you would ever pay that. Go ahead.
So, I lost my train.
Let's get some
If we can-
reaction.
If
Go
we
ahead.
can talk briefly,
Yeah, go ahead.
because time is like the strategy to get in front of people. Could you do it? Could you ever do it? Because we've talked a lot about town meetings, and would you see this as
Yes.
a group meeting as well, just to get started? Because here's where I think agents' minds might go. We're all so busy, and now I'm gonna go spend an hour with someone that's not gonna be moving for a while, and I know you're gonna have a solution, so this isn't expecting to be answered right now. But there will be a solution to if that hits your mind. Like, I don't have time to go meet with all these people that I'm just gonna help them learn how to, like, there's going to be a strategic approach to making sure that you're not just meeting with everybody that.
Let me interrupt you right here by saying this, Julie, because I know what you're saying. You shouldn't be looking at this from the prism of the volume of your work and the velocity of your work. Because how many agents in Fairfield County are as successful as you? So in other words, you might be, the best and highest use of your time may not be to sit with two people a week in their home. But you have people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay, that's the best and highest use of their time. And so,
And I think a
and-
percentage of my time too.
yeah, and not only that, let's be real here. Let me say this for a minute, okay? The real estate industry, two things it's not. Number one, it's not a strategic industry with strategic people. For example, how many of you, and I put myself in the same category as you, how many of you in high school or college, when somebody asked, what are you gonna do when you graduate? Say, I'm gonna sell real estate. Raise your hands. Not one person. Do you think if we're all doctors, there'd be at least one? How about entertainers, athletes, police officers, entertain? We're not a strategic population, but we're up against the strategy of our life. That's number one. Number two, most people in real estate are not real professional salespeople. Why do I say that? If I were to ask people who were selling pharmaceutical tools or whatever, if I said this to them, what if your business went out of business? What would you do next? Every single one would say this. I don't know what I'll do, Rick, but I'll sell something. Because they see themselves as a salesperson. They see themselves as a professional salesperson who happens to be in pharmaceuticals. A lot of people in real estate don't see themselves as a professional salesperson who happens to be in real estate. What does that mean? That means that a lot of you aren't, I don't mean any of you, I'm speaking now to the industry, interceptically here. A lot of the industry, they're not spellbinders when they go into people's homes. They don't have all the greatest presentations, the closing techniques. The business they're getting is because of relationships. That's the number one source. So what does that mean? You have to have a system that exponentially expands the relationships, not only in terms of numbers, but quality of impact and resonance. That's who you are. There's so many people that come into this business, they were successful in other businesses, but they flounder in real estate. Why? Because 95% of people process work and only 5% create work. And so every time since they were in kindergarten, they were given assignments and they were able to perform. Then they get into real estate and they have to create everything. Your husband might suffer from that. If he came in here for being a pilot and suddenly he had to make all these appointments, knock on doors, call this. That's exactly right. But he's highly educated, okay, and so forth and so on. And I'm sure charismatic. But the point is this. So this is something that's suited for the normal people, because the people who are the most successful in real estate, they're not normal. They're hyper aggressive. They're calling people. They go to a ball game. If somebody's whispering 5 sections away, we think we're moving. They're over there. Okay. The reticular activating network. Okay. They can hear somebody in section 5 say they're whispering, we're moving. They hear it. And the thing is this. And so there's a lot of people who come into this business. They had jobs in the city. They have this. They never do well because you know what? Because the way the conventional math only works for 10. It's the 90-10 law. It doesn't work for most people. But what you are is that you're more relational. You're more service oriented.
And because we all talk about how we're
Right.
educators and supporters and leaders, the educator part of it is totally in line with it. I'm not trying to approach them to buy or sell their house. It's to educate them to prepare for their future. And that's totally in line with the mission that we've created at the Vanderbilt team as educators.
But you have to have a credential, Julie. And here's the thing. Forgive me for cutting you short because this is 8 months of thinking of this with a short period of time. I wrote a book on influence. The two major ways that people are influenced is either through intimidation or prestige. You're not intimidating people, okay? John Gotti would get every listing, okay? God rest his soul. He'd get every single listing. But that you can't intimidate people. The other is prestige. We're in a credential-centric world. The most prestigious credential ever in real estate is going to be certified real estate planner. We just have to make sure we provide the value so it lives up to it. This can't be pick a credential. That's not me. You know how much I put into everything I do, books, programs, courses. look, you know, this is what, 40 years ago. I did homes guides in 6 different languages 40 years ago. This one, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Spanish. I've always been about value, okay? Not just words. Talk is cheap.
Always ahead of the
Yeah.
industry.
But this right here, when people come up to you and they ask you how the market, if you do the new math and you say that's one of 100 people, and of these 100 people, I'm gonna make another $300,000, okay? Then each person is, what, 3,000, every single person who comes up to you has a value. If you don't do this, most never have a value to you. Because they have a value, either someday you get their listing sale, you get referred to their friends, you bring in vendors. This is the way real estate, if it was started, if this was funded, if somebody like IBM came into the real estate business and they hired people as employees, this is exactly what they'd do. It's just that we're in a straight commission and people who have supernatural powers like Julie have flourished in the chaos of the industry because she's brought a modicum of systems and order into an unbelievably disorganized, disheveled industry. But that's because of her sheer intelligence and her energy and charisma. But now you have to have a credential that pre-sells people in terms of your value. Because they're going to bypass realtors. The buyers already are, and you're working too hard. So this would be something that, but you've got to believe in it. But you're just getting the first taste of this. When you go through the course, 8 or 9 weeks, you get the materials. You have people from all over the country. All the people, when you get people from all over the country sharing ideas, it may only be 2% of the industry that does this. But that 2% will outperform 30 or 40%.
I agree.
Any other questions? Rick, what are your thoughts, Rick?
I think it's terrific. It's nice to see something organized and structured. That's what we don't have in this industry, really. It's sort of just going in every direction possible.
And like
And then
one of-
losing your interest a week
Yeah.
later.
You know what we might need now? I think we might need a little bit of backup music. Ryan, can we show these? And I want to show them both. We have them both.
We have them both.
Okay, let's
Now,
see this.
which of the two would you like
Let's
first?
start with the opera.
Okay, so that's number 2. That's not based on liking or caring. That's based on the fact that I was, just check. Yes, that is the correct one.
Get the volume up. Louder.
To shift away, a higher place where truth is led, where consultation stands instead. The industry seeks a guiding light, a voice that cuts through endless night, with human judgment strong and clear, a consultant's role is needed. And then I'm Alan Dalton, a seasoned voice you've long heard speak. Decades deep within this ground, I've stood atop its highest peak. Steel needs more than sails and talk, more than scripts and standard walk. It needs the mind, the heart, the plan, the steady voice behind the man. Certified real estate consults, and a promise shaped by skill and greed, where guidance rises over pressure, and counsel serves the deepest need. Of course, the network and podcast sound, built on solid ground. The consultant does not simply sell. The consultant helps the client well. In choices, futures, goals, and worth, we shape the journey of their heart. Together now we form this stand, a new horizon for this land. The agents rise with purpose grand, and honor guides the consultant's hand. Certified real estate consultant.
one you like better? So should we show this when we do events?
Yeah, and all the lyrics, by the way, are there on the left as well. So if you scroll up after you press play, you can actually see them.
I'm Anthony Lamacki. I've spent my whole damn career pushing this industry forward. And the agents, and the clients, and for anyone who actually wants real estate done right. I'm Alan Dalton, been in this business longer than most people been alive. Leadership, strategy, national platforms, and I can tell you straight, real estate don't need more sales talk, it needs consultants. So we're here to introduce a certified real estate consultant online course, the podcast, and the national network. And yeah, we're gonna rap about it. Let's go. Yeah, we certified, new model, new lane, consultants in the game, redefining the name. They are on deck, but the people want brain, real judgment, real wisdom maps can't explain. Yo, Alan Dalton and I, here we build this thing, turned industry noise into something with swing. He's the seasoned mind, I'm the punch in the ring. Together we deliver what the future gon' bring. From #1 in mass to a 6-state climb, bro, we're built on hustle, not luck or time. Crush is fire, increase the crime. It's the motto that's gonna redefine. Yeah, agents need more than leads in the chase. They need thinking strategy, professional rates. Clients need truth, not hype in their face. So we build a system that restores the space. Consultants rise, clients trust, who prepare. Now folks will show up, tactics disappear. We guide with judgment, experience, care. We say what's real even when it's rare. I'm Alan Dalton, and let me be clear. Real estate ain't a game, it's a career you steer. Realtor.com, the Berkshire years. 60 offices built through sweat and gears. Systems I created now echo in ears. Increase the shift the industry nears. Consultants on pitch, turns interpret. Simplify complex community purpose. Raise trust levels, make the client feel worth it. Revamp the human sales alone can't service it. So yo, Alan and I share one mission. Move from selling homes to consulting and vision. List the people first, that's the real transition. The 3D team, that's the ignition. Internal team tight, diet hole in the middle. Ecosystems around, ain't none of it little. Influencer, not billboard drizzle. We lead with substance, not marketing sizzle. Hey, I got data, but we got the meaning. Millions for humans who know what they're feeling. We step up strong when the pressure starts leaning. That's certified service, not transactional gleaning. We certified the left of the program. The title with a purpose, a goal with a mission. Consultants don't talk, consultants listen and live. Class higher with precision, Chris here. We ready? We lead. Certified real estate consultants. That's the creed.
Let me ask you this, what did you think of the two? Which do you like better?
I like the second.
Yeah.
I like the help.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
Rick, it's funny, Rick and I and Brian overwhelmingly like the Hamilton one.
The first one.
Oh, yeah, the opera, yeah, definitely.
No, the Hamilton was the second one.
I think it's a mix of the two that we need.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
I
the
like them
second?
both for different reasons.
First when you're reading it, the
Yeah.
draft,
Right.
but, and the other, they were both great, but I love the
Maybe get
the
something
lean
more in the
into the
middle.
rap one.
Maybe do a
Attention.
mashup.
Yeah.
of both.
Of two.
That was the thing. I don't think somebody could take this idea and use opera for like, we do open house, we do Nazi around. This is a mission. That's why I'm very moved by
I
it.
think the opera one could be, if it had more depth, like the rap had more, like,
Okay,
information that
Specifics.
really was specific instead of just it just got more into it.
so you think when
So
people,
kind of a
inquire-
mix of both.
Julie,
I
when
would
people
like.
inquire around the country, should we send them a link to this when we fund
I
the
would-
rap?
A little mix of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll refer you to my
All
son.
right.
You have it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
a
would
little
tweak
mix
it a
of
little,
both,
so
maybe
it's
in
a
the middle.
little- Yeah, it's a
not too,
little, yeah,
yeah.
But also with the script, so they see the script.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's.
So let me ask you this. This isn't up for a couple of months. How many of you, either as a agent or an administrator, think that this is something that could significantly help people's careers? Here, raise your hand if you believe that. Okay, that's good. Yeah, because we're gonna get back to Julie. Anthony's a dear friend of Julie's and as am I, excuse me.
Yeah, no, I'm
And we're looking, and of course, I'll talk to Rick too. Rick wants to do something for the larger company. Because maybe there's something we could do is almost have you like Fairfield County and be the test for the county. You know,
Yeah.
just a whole different approach to real estate. Okay, anyway, thanks for your kind attention.
It's been amazing, and thank you. for
Thank
your
you,
time.
Alan, really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to put the, I want you to party tonight. I want to have that for Anthony. Hold on a second.
He went to a party.
No, because you know, because I'm doing research. Okay, let me see. I should have had that.
I think we should have the rap song playing in the office.
So, hey,
Everybody
listen.
on screen
Hey,
clap.
listen,
when we-
everybody, so what do you think of this concept?
Amazing. And one question, not that you're gonna answer now, but one question.
How about the people on Zoom?
They were clapping.
Fabulous.
You love it?
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
great.
what we're
Thank
not doing. We need to do it. There's no question about it.
you. I
So,
agree. Thanks for your
One
kind
really
attention.
important that we can implement a little more strongly today, starting today, even though we talk about it all the time, is when someone asks how the market is, because more than ever, I'm getting asked that question. Oh, how's the market? Every day, whether they live in Connecticut or Florida, or if they know you're in real estate, how's the market? And we've said, thank you for asking. It's an opportunistic market. There's incredible opportunity for, and depending on, right now, I say there's very little inventory, so there's extreme opportunity for sellers who want to maximize their price, but also for buyers through our matchmaking program and how we bring buyers and sellers together, because a lot of the sellers don't want to lose, don't want to put their house on the market, so there's opportunity for both. Now, I won't even get into the whole new Trump thing where you can bring your mortgage with you. I don't know if any of you heard of that.
Portable.
Your portable mortgage, so your 3%ers that don't want to move. We have a whole new target market to start creating to.
Julie, let me ask you this question. How many of you are meeting with buyers going over your value?
We do. We all meet with them to go over buyer value.
Can I take 10 minutes to go over my buyer thing?
Yeah, but before we go there, and some of us will have to go, and you're gonna come up with the proper, but when someone says, how's the market, rather than just talk buyers, sellers, investors, how we're going to be implementing thank you for asking, because the number one thing that you should be considering now, no matter when you're moving or selling, is to start the process on a so that, like, coming up.
It's gonna be like, well, here's the language, okay? After, opportunistic buyers,
But even before that,
well, ask me, how's the market?
how's the market?
Well, the most notable thing about the market, Julie, I don't know if you're aware of this.
After you
that-
say thanks for asking.
Okay, after I say thanks, Justin, well, probably one of the most notable things about the market right now is that unlike in 2008, where the average homeowner was only staying in the home for 6 years, now the average homeowner is staying 13.2 years. Therefore, what we've done at Higgins and the Vanderbilt Group, we've completely changed our business model to meet with homeowners while they're in the home, helping them on home improvement, home savings, appealing property taxes. And I love to get together. It's a complimentary service. Because most of those people right there in the spot, they're not buying and selling. But if they are, they're gonna even more want to work with you. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to convert them into appointments. But you're not going to keep doing it unless you're going to start getting referrals of it. So that's a great
And
thing.
you gotta,
Or how's the market? How's the market? Okay. Why do you ask? Okay, how's the market? Thanks for asking. But I said again, the biggest thing that's happening in the market, right? And by the way, it's the truth. The biggest thing in the market is there's a housing shortage. The biggest, and the interest rates are too high, low to people to give up. The biggest thing that's happening in our market here in Connecticut is people are now living in their homes for over 10 and 12 years. And because of that, a big part of my real estate practice now is meeting with them on a complimentary basis, going over appealing property taxes, home savings, home improvement, home maintenance, real estate planning. In fact, I've been meaning to call you. Let's get together sometime over the next couple of weeks. Let me come visit you, okay? See, you work, but we have scripts, we have text, we have how to email it, messaging in terms of that. So do you like that, Julie? And but a good thing to always say to people is this, who you already know, Colleen, geez, you've been on my list to give you a call. See, that gives it point, but let me go to the buyer thing, but there's more work that we do on that. Let me give you the buyer thing. Here's the way, if by the way, do you think you might do this now? You might create this, okay? 7As of buyer agent back. Here's how this works. Rick. You gotta go?
Yeah.
Okay, here's how this works. Call in. Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you later, Rick. Okay. Here's how this goes. So I'm gonna say this to you. So we're meeting here. It's an afternoon. Say, Colleen, first of all, I don't know if you know, aware of the new changes in buyer agency laws. That we can, no realtor here in Connecticut can show you property unless you first agree that they're gonna represent you, okay? If they're gonna work with you, okay? So what we've done with the available teams, we'll put together the 7As of buyer agent guide. It only takes a few minutes because we want to show exactly how we'll represent. Okay, so I'm gonna hand this to you. And I also have this in a one flyer, okay? First of all, before we get into this, Colleen, what would you expect from your buyer agents? Now, here's why you asked that question. Because it's consultative, it's collaborative, it shows you're confident. And the other thing is this, there's no way they can ever list all the things that you do. Well, I want to see houses, I want to get a good price, I don't know, I want to view it. Whatever they say, you can then say, well, that's great, but you know, with all due respect, we do a lot more than that. Okay, you need to expect more. Okay, we do a lot more than that. Yeah, so here's the 7As. The first A is agency. That means that a buyer has an agent now that I'll represent you. I have a fiduciary responsibility to you as if you and I will be as one. So I'll be looking at homes just as if I was buying for myself and my family or my friends, okay? A seller has an agent, they represent them, and then there's dual agents that they don't represent either, but they work with both, but that's not for now, okay? So I just want to give you a sense of how much I believe in agency. I'm not going to ask you right now why you're buying, if you're selling a home, what's your financial circumstances until and unless you ask me to represent. Because if you didn't, and if you gave me all that information, you decided not to, that could actually be used against you. So, but we'll come back to that, okay? Time out. It's critical to gain trust. It's more critical to gain trust with buyers and sellers because there's a greater likelihood that the seller is within your sphere of influence by your referrals. Buyers you're meeting for the first time, okay? Now, the second A is access. It's very important, and especially in a low inventory market, that we get you access. And I made a practice over the years, and I get this from Julie, I made a practice over the years to work magnificently with all the listing agents. Little things like make sure I get this from Julie, turning off lights after all showings, just a lot of little things. But I will do everything in my power to get you access. And if you're not available, I'll go preview the home for you. Arrange. That's the same thing with, and by the way, I'll also get you access to homes off the market, Bizbos, because let me ask you this, right now, there's only 2% of the homes in Connecticut are on the market. Would you also be interested in having exposure to homes that aren't on the market? We may drive by a community. Okay, great. Just keep that in mind. That's very important because the average homeowner is now living in a home for 12 years. So this isn't a decision, obviously, to go to a movie, to buy a suit or a dress. And so because of that, access is very, very important, okay? And you'll have more stories. Arrange, okay? That goes into arrange. That would be more like what I said for access, like relationships. The next is apprise and negotiate. In terms of apprising your value, Colleen, most good buyer agents do what is called a buyer CMA. A CMA is an estimate of fair market value. That's not enough for my clients, okay? Because that only shows you what the home estimated value is now. If we see homes that you really zero in on, I do a buyer MMA. It's a buyer merchandising market analysis. I'll do a research in terms of what the home could become as an investment. Because even though most of my clients, they're looking to move here for the great, unbelievable lifestyle of Connecticut, and oh my God, are people flooding in from Manhattan. But I don't want you just to look at it from a lifestyle. I also want you to look at it as an investment. So if we do decide to work together, and if we zero in homes, is that something you'd want me to do for you, to do that analysis in terms of the investment potential? Okay, great. In terms of negotiate, well, that's covered in agency. You and I will be as one, okay? And I will do everything in my power to help you not only find the right home. See, a lot of people don't realize this. when we're helping people buy a home, if we're selling, we call it selling homes, we're the only people in the world that have an ethical responsibility to have you try to buy the product for as little as you have to pay. Okay, so that's my philosophy of negotiating. Answers, the next A, answers 24/7, anything. Okay, I'll have you, you can call me anytime, text. Plus we have a team. So anytime that I'm not available, somebody in the team, because you've got to have access to all the information. Administration, over the years, we're the #1 team in Connecticut. We've administrated thousands of transactions. We've made a science out of creating seamless transactions. And that's very important because, boy, the last thing, because the last thing you want to do is see a home and have it fall through because somebody can't keep the transaction together. And this is something we actually do case studies on our team. We'll go over, just like doctors going over a patient to make sure that the transaction holds together. That is if you want it to hold together, okay? And usually they do. After the sale value, that's my favorite A. Because what we do is that, first of all, I'll be sending you a digital copy. We do in-home consultation because I'll be working with you for years in terms of home improvement, home savings, home maintenance, appealing property taxes. I do there's no cost to any of this. Real estate planning, in fact, I'll be sending you a digital copy of this, and also I'll be sending you real estate partners directory because plumbers, electricians, landscapers. In fact, you know what my clients call this? They call this like having a 5-year head start of moving into Fairfield County. So those are the 7 A's. We've covered agency, access, arrange. Now, based on that, in your opinion, do you feel that I can do an effective job of representing?
Absolutely.
Really good. Really so good. Everything's so good. I'm so grateful that you were able to come in today. Alan Dalton is.
What's your name?
Vera Maxman.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm so happy to see you.
Oh, very nice to meet you.
So good. I think we can all agree we all learned an incredible amount of valuable information today, as we always do, and this is just the beginning.
We'll be getting back to everybody in a month or two. We want you on our
Thank you
ballot.
so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.